from South Florida Insider, and I'm here with
Charles Ross, who's the one-man Star Wars Trilogy, all the way from Canada.
all the way from Canada too, and it seems you got a nice little mix here coming down to South Florida. I mean, with the weather, you know.
I've got absolutely nothing to complain about. Although it took a long time to get down here because they canceled all the flights going through Houston yesterday. So I actually got rerouted to Newark. Unlike Canada where you get more than an inch of snow, people actually know what to do with it. But Houston, they got like 2 inches of snow and they were just completely trapped. So I guess it's quite fitting with Star Wars being it's a trap. But I wish I could stay here longer. I'm only here till tomorrow till 5 o'clock. But I do get to go to Australia for 2 months at the end of this month. So I really have to look at my
It's kind of weird seeing you this mellow right now, because I swear you on stage, you must have gone through a lot of espressos or coffee or something.
No, actually, it's weird. It's like when you learn how to do a run. You know, if you're a runner, you sort of, if you have the same route that you take all the time, you don't have to push it, no one to hold back. And for me, it's like once the show is done, I don't have to, perform anymore if I don't really want to. And, it's weird because I get on the airplane and no one knows what I do for a living, which is great because I've got all this frequent flyer, awards, and I can, sit in the first class section, and it's always the conversation because I want to do what I do for a living because people don't know what to do with it. Being a one-man Star Wars or a one-man Lord of the Rings, most people are just, going somewhere for whatever kind of business. So I feel like I'm part of something and yet completely apart from it at the same time. So sometimes being mellow is just the only thing that keeps me sane.
Does it get to the point where everybody's like, once you mention it, okay, do this voice, do this voice?
Yeah, sometimes. It's weird. It got to be that way with Star Wars, and I never found that Star Wars really lent itself to that. Like I don't think I did really great voices for the Star Wars show, but for the Lord of the Rings, I can take a gun out of my mouth and do. You must lock the precious. Which is something that people react to. I will leave you on the western walls of the forest. So that's something that's more like the dance I'm learning. And it's been hard because whenever I've done like Conan O'Brien or like the weird sort of late night talk show thing, they always want me to do a bit from the show. But it's difficult because what can you take out of the show that sort of stands on its own? A lot of times I end up doing the trash compactor scene because it's about 2 minutes long. It sort of stands on its own. But people sometimes ask me when I go to parties, if I'm, sort of just pulling this out of my butt to do for that. But I never do because it's my job now. If you can imagine that. So it being my job would be like if you just went and started interviewing somebody for fun, which you might, but I tend not to.
Could you ever see yourself even going to the next trilogy? I'm sure you must have been asked that before, but...
Yeah, I have been, but, the new films I kind of found were for the next generation of sort of, movie watchers. So, in a lot of ways, it's like all the special effects, all the CGI, and the difference in the characterization, even, the kind of characters you see, it lends itself to, I think, a younger audience. And it'll be interesting to see how that fares over, say, like the next 30 years. Because I grew up with Star Wars, so I loved it as a kid, and it kind of came by it naturally. And I think I would have to sort of really regress back into being an 8-year-old kid to watch the new films and sort of capture that youthful exuberance that I just naturally had for Star Wars. So, I don't know, maybe there's some aspiring nerd out there that'll, decide to do the next thing, and then I can be the old man doing like, these are the good films, and have the kid come out and go, these are the good films, and I know, like doing Star Wars or something.
What about even going with the Lord of the Rings? You got the Hobbit, which is in the works.
That's right, yeah. Well, and this is part of it too. I mean, I'll probably add, if the Hobbit's, it's all good and all works, there's nothing wrong with changing the way that you perform the show. Like, I could do, say, maybe a 30-minute prequel thing, and then just sort of say do 30 minutes of the prequel, and then do the old films, or do the old films and then just do like an encore of 30 minutes of the new things. I just wondered the type of audience that would be coming out for it. So I've thought of doing like The Matrix or Indiana Jones or something like that. There was a guy that even did The Godfather. It was called The Godfather Workout. He hurt himself really badly because he had all these set pieces. So he used to jump here and jump there, and I guess he jumped one day and landed really badly and broke his arm or something like that. as long as it fits into my, no costume, no set, no prop, no talent kind of, shtick, then it'll all be good.
Yeah, it definitely seems just a bit spastic. I don't know that having any obstacles would probably be a good idea for you.
No, man, I can't even imagine it. I've hurt myself enough over the years, just, maybe taking a bad fall or something like that. Man, if I had to set, it'd be terrible, and it is totally spastic, there's a lot more control than perhaps what it looks like, but that's sort of the key. You sort of make it seem like it's out of control, even though it's completely choreographed and completely in control. But there's been times where I thought I'm going to fall off the stage here if I'm not careful. And I never have.
So does it get to the point now, because I mean you know the roles, you know the movie so well, that if somebody wanted to watch the movie with you, they'd pretty much have to put a muzzle on you to get you to stop talking because you know every line?
I haven't seen the films in a long time, and I'm sure I probably retain quite a lot of it, but it's like I've seen them so many times I don't really need to see them again. And I'm sure I'd sit there and mutter to myself, but I always thought it was really annoying when people would sit there and talk along with the movies. So I try not to annoy anybody while I do it, but maybe I do.
And just kind of wrapping it up, because I know you got a bunch of eager people waiting to see you.
Maybe.
What else is in store for you down the road? Could we possibly maybe even see you with Lord of the Rings down here again?
I'm hoping to come down with Lord of the Rings. It's funny, I just finally got my legal permission last year to keep doing the Lord of the Rings show. I had to sort of wait for 5 years to have all that sort of put into order. So it truly is my hope to come down with it. And it'll be neat because my fingers are crossed because I've got a couple hopeful big surprises coming up this year for myself with regards to Lord of the Rings. And Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf, he came and saw the show years back. And hopefully we'll have a chance to go out and see him when I'm over in Australia again, because he's over there doing the Hobbit. They'll be starting the Hobbit at least pretty quickly here. I don't know, it'd be kind of nice to go over to New Zealand and get some work as an extra even, so I can point myself out in the back of the Hobbit, and then play myself on stage, maybe make my role bigger than it actually was.
And just to close it off, for fans, for people that eager to find out information about yourself, where could they visit?
Well, they can check me on Facebook or on Twitter, but they can also check out OneManStarWars.com, OneManStarWars.com.
All right, I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
And